Stephen Eskinazi, well batted. That was an incredible innings, nearly 7 hours. Sadly, though, the damage for Middlesex was done in the first innings, wasn't it? Which just meant it was just that bit too much to save it today.
Yeah, absolutely. A bit of the story of the season for us. Being really, really good in patches, showing some amazing character and fight, but fundamentally not being good enough in the big moments. And you're always up against it when you get bowled out for 100. Hats off to Gloucester. They played well in conditions they obviously know really well too. They adapted. But certainly some positives to take from today, but still bitter disappointment.
Just go back to the beginning of the match, they were a little bit heavy perhaps in that first innings then. Middlesex bowled very well in the first half of the day, got the reward in the second, but having been unlucky in the first half of the day, as I know the bowlers felt they were, it just meant it was a slightly bigger total than perhaps Middlesex would have liked, and then that also put the pressure on as well as the season situation.
Yeah, absolutely. I think though in July, if you bowl first and you bowl a team out for 250 in a day, you're happy with that. Fundamentally, I think as a batting group in the first innings, we've just got to find a way of, if it's 100, trying to get 180. If it's 150, trying to get 220, because towards the back end of games, it makes such a massive difference. So I do think, with the ball, we've been excellent this week, and we bowled really well. We understand that there are some bowlers out, we understand our limitations, and we're playing amazingly to our strengths too. So the marginal differences in the game are what hurting us. And if we can play more days of cricket like we played today, more days of cricket like we played on the first day, we're going to come out on the right side of more results.
Pete Hanscom was quite clear last night and Stuart Law this morning about what Middlesex need to do to get out of what they said obviously is going to be a situation where there's a lack of confidence going out with the bat, and that is to spend lots and lots of time in the middle and just survive, never mind the runs, never mind the match situation. Is that how you and Pete went about it from the beginning when you came together yesterday, and also yourself and Daryl Mitchell today?
Yeah, absolutely. It was a conversation we just had in the dressing room there. And I hope I'm not sort of putting my foot in it with these comments, but I think it's so individual. I think for me, for example, going out there and finding a way to put pressure on bowlers by run scoring is what I need to do to try and get my form back. And 2020 cricket has really helped me there. For other players, it's time in the middle. So for a young batting group, a relatively inexperienced batting group, everyone's going to be different, and I don't think it's going to be a one-size-fits-all. But I do think one thing is we need to find a way to put pressure on sides, and today we put pressure on a bowling attack by soaking up balls. Next week on a flat wicket, for example, it might be putting pressure on sides by going at 4 and over for an hour or 5 and over for an hour. But getting our mojo back doesn't happen overnight, and conversations like we're having now about winning those small battles are going to be fundamentally what helps us.
For the last few years and for this year as well, the funny thing is it's been a lack of perhaps first innings runs the last few years. They came in the second. This year it's actually been first innings runs, but getting the runs in the first innings, but the second innings is where the collapses have come a lot of the time. Obviously not in this match, but it's a conundrum, isn't it, of how to put it together, because it does happen in one of the innings. But is it confidence when something sets in that, here we go again, that just need to get out of that rut?
It's just the fickle nature of 4-day cricket, and it just shows how good you have to be for such a long period of time. It's why we love playing the game. It's why success in this format of the game and wins feel so sweet, because you can't play cricket for 3 days well and expect to win games of cricket. We probably had the better of 3 innings out of the 4. We bowled really well and we batted really nicely in the second innings. So if we were better for 1 innings, we come out on the right side of the result. So I think one really good thing it is showing a lot of our young cricketers is just how well you have to play in this format to be on the right side of results. And when it turns, which it will, we're going to be drawing on days like these.
New contract for yourself. You've captained as well over the last couple of years, so going to be a big integral part of this going forward. I know you won't want to tell me everything. I shouldn't ask everything of what was said in the dressing room, but it was a long lock-in. And fixing this, how is it? Is it a mix of having to be hard, having to be soft, or...?
I think it's more back to the drawing board for a lot of individuals. We spoke a lot about options there with the bat. We spoke a lot about confidence. And I think these words can be throwaway comments a lot of people talk about, but we try to knuckle down and figure out what exactly does that mean. As a batting group, that's nailing 2 or 3 shots that everyone in the country knows that if they bowl that ball to that batter, they're going to get hit for 4. And if they bowl a good ball, they're going to be defended. So we just started to talk about, some of the experienced guys like Daryl and Pete and Robbo, these test players, and Stewie obviously has a wealth of experience. Talking about what that actually looks like. Maybe we've been guilty in the past of having hard conversations, but not actually diving into what that looks like or what that means from a training perspective, what it means out in the field. So we really spoke about what it might look like and how we can try and implement that in what is obviously a hectic schedule, which I think is great for us. There's 2 ways to go about the next week or 2 weeks of cricket, and that's go in your shell and be scared about the next opportunity, or to see it as just that, an opportunity to go out and turn it around, play some really good cricket.
Appreciate your time, well batted.
Thank you.